The vision of 2084, looking to the future, may arguably be one that might share some jolting similarities with the worst fears of dystopian fiction, yet it is rooted in the realities of our technological and social trajectory. In a world where societies are set up to grapple with technological advance, shifting political power structures, and increasing social control, the very fabric of civilization does seem to be undergoing an ominous transformation. In such a prospective world, the dividing line between freedom and constraint becomes blurred, while human self-determination goes through an unprecedented attack. It is a nightmare that no one thought would ever come real. Control of thought through language and culture. Perhaps one of the more ominous developments that seems to take shape in this world is how thought can be controlled through manipulation of language and culture. What amazes is how words and their meanings have been manipulated to fit certain particular ideologies over the last decade or so. Many terms are now redefined, or their context has been radically changed solely for political or social connotations, thereby blurring their originality. It looks like an innocent process. As a matter of fact, it serves a greater goal to influence people's minds and thus the way they will act and communicate with each other. Conformity to certain wordings is furthered by social pressures. A person opposing the use of new accepted terms for anything can be considered intolerant or outdated. This silences any opposition. Cancel culture works parallel to this motive in such a way that acceptances are allowed by, or assured from, mass society with the help of shunning and public ostracization or shaming. Consequently, people become afraid of expressing opinions different from the mainstream ones, which makes society homogeneous and freedom of speech illusory. This social pressure extends beyond mere words, extending to the behavior, thoughts, and even identity of people. Matters such as gender fluidity, correct politics, and the new social norms are no longer among those debatable issues, but part of the very fabric of society. Those who resist or question these changes face swift retribution. This makes the public less disposed to challenge authority and question what they are told. Surveillance and the death of privacy. With the advent of technology, privacy has almost vanished. The state-of-the-art surveillance system escort of life has grown from face identification to artificial intelligence tracking systems. These have now become omnipresent, from city streets to online sites. Governments and corporations have unparalleled access to personal information. They use this information to monitor behavior and influence choices. It records and tracks every single activity of human beings that a common person generally is not cognizant of. Every smartphone interaction, every search query, and every social media post. Often, this information can be used by governments against the people in a law enforcement capacity to monitor citizens for the purpose of governance. It is this atmosphere that is really eerie, where people become very careful about their actions, knowing they will fall under a constant gaze. The development of AI-enhanced surveillance systems takes this intrusion one step further. Such technologies can perform deep analytics on massive data in real time to predict and effectively preempt possible threats. While projected as safety and security tools, such tools have the potential to be misused for graver purposes. AI in the future may be used by governments and corporations to manipulate public sentiment or target dissenters. Social norms are perpetuated, and the notion of privacy may disappear completely, being replaced with the concept of pervasive observation, automation, and loss of human jobs. With the increased advancement in robotics and AI, less human effort is needed. Starting from manufacturing logistics to service jobs, machines are outperforming humans gradually in almost every industry. The promise of automation is it can create an efficient, more productive economy, while on the other hand, there comes a heavy cost: the replacement of human workers. In a world where machines are capable of doing what factories do and diagnosing ailments, there will be little left to be done by people. Ironically, it ushers in large sections of the population into an existential crisis, because work has been a source of identity and purpose, not to mention survival. As jobs go away, the global workforce must adapt to a world wherein employment is no longer assured. These governments may increasingly turn to UBI to support their work-displaced populations, but UBI is a benefit strictly in monetary terms. It does not provide for the psyche or wider breakdown in social contract created from mass unemployment. Many will feel purposeless, as if they have nothing to do, and will seek entertainment or some means of fulfillment in a virtual world of digitization. The rise of the metaverse is an answer to real-world struggles. Thus, it served as a kind of sanctuary to escape into, a world to which one could go and design one's new self and live out a fantasy. For a little while, being disconnected from what's really happening in life, pressures can temporarily be forgotten in the real world. Individuals who invest too much time in the metaverse risk becoming accustomed to such a life, with the comforts of virtual existence over and above real-life encounters. The metaverse is the next place to go, an enlivened virtual space where users will interact with one another, work, play, and socialize. The metaverse, instead, from this point of view, is a sexy way out. It is the promise of another life where you can create a new identity and discover worlds that are otherwise impossible to visit in the real world. The metaverse may give them a glimpse of freedom and purpose with UBI, but that will certainly be a very hollow freedom. People in these virtual spaces become so passive against a controlled environment, somewhat oblivious to the actual environmental issues still evolving outside the virtual cocoon. The more one spends time in virtual space, the easier it would be to distort reality for those in power and make everyone in society toe the line according to their will. In many ways, the metaverse can be a tool of social control. Often enough in that digital framework, people turn a blind eye to real problems in the world and find happiness in the space of virtual reality. Meanwhile, the governments and corporations will keep restructuring society in their favor, with minimal resistance from a distracted and passive population. The rise of central bank digital currencies and economic control. What it really means is yet another game changer for the future. Central bank digital currencies. While such a digital asset represents a diametric opposite to decentralized cryptocurrencies, CBDCs come into full view under the control of governments and central banks. At face value, CBDCs sound nice and secure, but there's a very big implication lurking beneath them for personal freedom and economic sovereignty. Unlike traditional currencies, CBDCs are fully traceable and programmable. In fact, governments can use them to trace every transaction, observe the spending habits of their citizens, and maintain law enforcement. The control makes it an all-time high where official control in financial activities is in real time. In case a government decides that any behavior of people or any kind of transaction is undesired, then easy restriction of access to digital currency cuts off the undesired people from the economy. CBDCs can easily be linked with the already worked social credit systems globally for the move towards full automation in people's lives. Social credit would no longer be voluntarily adhered to, rather, it would be enforced through one's means. When a person's score happened to drop too low, there could be limitations of travel, restrictions on employment, and even curbs on accessing services. Neuralink and the control of consciousness. Of serious concern in the near future could be brain implants where human minds will be integrated with machines. While this technology has been suggested for application as a means of being able to deal with neurological diseases, simultaneously it raises critical ethical issues related to the disturbing prospect of mind control and manipulation. In that future, BCIs would permit human enhancement and the control of thought and behavior. One's mind will be accessible for governments and corporations, thus, there is no personal decision or emotion, including remembrances. This level of control over human thought is unimaginable with traditional surveillance and censorship. Free will as a concept might travel back to the past in a world where even thoughts may be monitored and manipulated. That creates an enormous avenue for abuse. With BCIs, the already powerful could suppress dissent, control the perception of reality, and impose societal norms. Even rebellion at the level of thought could be stopped, and no room would be left for true resistance. In this future, the human mind turned from a private sanctuary into the field of a struggle for control, the imminent menace of worldwide confrontation. Just as technological advances are shaping the face of society, they give a window on how much conflict across the globe humanity is likely to face. The rise of AI-driven weapons and autonomous drones, coupled with advancements in cybersecurity, forms a new frontier in military strategy. As a matter of fact, future wars will not be fought by human soldiers on the ground, but through machines and algorithms that can destroy an entire nation with the touch of a button. As countries continue in this rat race to develop these new technologies, the balance of power is further upset, and the world may sooner or later see the sparks that ignite a global conflict with catastrophic consequences. A mix of advanced technology, economic instability, and exploding political situations creates an explosive environment in which war becomes probable. After such a conflict, the world would not be the same again. Control of AI, robotics, and surveillance technology in the hands of a few would amass unprecedented power, literally creating a future for humankind beyond our imagination. In the aftermath of the war, there could well be a newly shaped world order wherein the few with technology control the masses. Conclusion: the world beyond. We are facing a future replete with incredible possibilities and horribly frightening dangers. The great progress of technological advance offers the answer to our prayers by opening a door to an uncharted level of control and manipulation. As societies lean ever more heavily into AI, surveillance, and digital currencies, the precarious balance of freedom versus control becomes ever more precarious. We are on a course that suggests humanity may be trading liberty for convenience, individuality for conformity, and autonomy for security. Thank you for spending time with us through Spookscope today. Feel free to share your thoughts and theories in the comment section. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends and family. Until next time, my dear spooker, stay curious,